Hi everybody, it's Tina Plackinger. Thank you for joining me today. It's almost like, well, let's go to Tina Plackinger's channel and watch her fight for her life. That's how I feel lately, you know. Anyways, yeah, well, you know, I don't make videos unless I have something to say, so it's never boring, I guess. I may not make a lot of them anymore, but when I do make them, I have something to say. So, and I do. I really want to talk about direct attacks from Satan. You know, I don't hear about it. I don't read about it. And it happens to me often. Usually when I defeat a demon or whatever, a principality, that Jezebel is a principality. Okay, Jezebel, the principality of lusts and greed, control, and heavy witchcraft. You know, Jezebel didn't just go after normal people. You know, Jezebel went after prophets. You know, the golden child, golden children of the Lord, the chosen ones, you know, people who have assignments. Yeah, she is big on binding her mates, binding them, and then controlling them like she did her husband, Ahab, who was a fool. So she's one of the strongest spirits that there is. So if you can defeat her, you know, you're well on your way. As it says in Revelation 2:26, you will be given the power of the nations. You know, so anyways, I'm doing these spiritual warfare prayers on Friday morning. I'm scheduled for legs, okay, so it just like every day is the same, okay, so I'm, except for that was new. I decided, okay, I'm going to go and attack and destroy Jezebel with all of her witchcraft. And so I thought I'm going to do this for 3 days, so I was reading scriptures out loud specifically to take her down, which I did. I believe I did. A principality is like a principal of a high school. Think of that, okay? A principality is like a principal of a high school who is in charge of all the other teachers and guidance counselors and, you know, the students, okay? Jezebel is a principality. So I'm saying these scriptures out loud. And I stop. And I let the dogs in. Okay, they have a doggy door, so they're outside dogs, but they have house privileges. So I wipe them down often. They do have couch privileges because I have a special cover on the couch. So anyways, I'm, you know, wiping one of them down, and the other one jumps up on the couch and cold cocks me and breaks my nose. Yeah, that's right, I'm sitting here with a broken nose. So now I got a chipped tooth and a broken nose. I mean, could it get any worse? Yeah, I could be missing a limb. I could have gotten, you know, smashed outside walking my dog in the morning for 5 minutes. You know, it could be worse. You know, I have all my limbs and all my fingers. I wasn't even being a roughneck. And I am a roughneck around here. I've had to be. Except when I started training 4.5 years ago. I don't put so much energy into the BS outside. I do what I need to do, and then that's it. But, yeah, it was like a wrecking ball. Now, this was so precise. Okay, this is precise to a T. That this is how it went. 1 1,000, 2 1,000, 3 1,000, it's over. So it was only 3 seconds, but it was dramatic and it was violent. And it was an attack from Satan himself. Boy, I must really have something huge that I'm supposed to be, that I'm called to do for the Lord. Because Satan is hot. He is pissed. And, okay, so it was boom, crack, gush. That's how fast it went. The gush is the blood from my nose. Okay. It was bam, okay, crack, gush. You know, my place looked like an NCSI crime scene. That's how violent this was. I heard the crack, and then the blood went everywhere. And so I'm running through the house. Help me, Jesus, help me, Jesus. Okay. If it didn't crack, I wouldn't have been so alarmed. Okay, I got hit in the face, I got hit in the nose, and now it's bleeding. But it wasn't like that. This was violent. Okay. And I ran and I got the ice pack and a rag. There's blood everywhere. The dogs are out the door. They're not even anywhere to be found at this point. They know I'm very upset. And I'm screaming and crying for the Lord to help me. Because I was just like, oh my God, not my nose. You know? I don't know if it's all the collagen I take every day or that I say no weapon formed against me shall prosper 25 times a day out loud. Or if it was just all things work together for my good. To them that love the Lord and are called according to his purpose. Or God shall supply all of my needs. Or whatever it is that I have been making deposits into my spiritual bank every day. I don't know what it is, but it sure could be a whole lot worse. It's straight. It's really, really tender right here. Really, really tender right here. I've been icing it and putting arnica cream. I have arnica cream. It's like a natural cell salt for sprains and pain and so forth. But yeah, this happened Friday. I'm sorry, I'm kind of lost for words. I just still sort of kind of in shock, and I waited a couple days to see what would happen. You know, is my nose leaning one way, or is there a big bump there, or am I going to get black and blue eyes? Because then I could make a video and say you should see the other guy. You know, but nah, today's Monday, and I'm just tired of it all. Tired today. Tired. But you see, the enemy didn't get me in the snare of the fowler. And that's what was supposed to have taken place. This attack from Satan himself, and he does do his own attacks every once in a while, you know. Yeah, he's got a whole slew of demons that work through people that get out there and, you know, try to kill you. All right? And if they don't, or they're not able to, or whatever, or you've done your scriptures or whatever, and you've won a war, you're a battle, you know, you've gotten, you know, then I think Satan gets real hot and comes in himself. And that's what that was. That was too weird. Too weird. Other weird things have happened to me. Just almost like as dramatic, you know? I mean, just, I don't want to tell a sad story about any animals, but Trust me when I just tell you that, okay? Now, when the guy was going to run me over, when he clearly came across the two lines in the middle of the road and head on came at me, okay, which I talked about in the last video, and I called the sheriff to tell him he needs to know, I don't care what he is, he's still the lawman for the county. Okay? I got these comments from some of you guys, oh, don't talk to the cops. Hey, listen, I live out here by myself. I am pursued when I step out the door. Go see. Go see. Hopefully she'll go out and bark and see what it is and not stand here. Okay. Where was I going with that now? Anyways, they wanted me to file a police report. I couldn't talk to the sheriff. He wouldn't take my call. They wanted me to file a police report. You know how many police reports I have in my filing cabinet? I got a stack like this. From sexual assaults to being drugged to being robbed. You name it, they're in there. Okay? Never went anywhere. So, I'm watching this thing yesterday on TV called Ben-Hur. Not my kind of movie. Don't like those movies where they're in chariots and, they're riding like 4 horses in the front and now they're going to go into the arena and kill each other and all that. I'm just not into it. Not my kind of a movie. Flicked it on, watched it, and boom, all of a sudden there's Jesus. He's hanging on the cross. I don't know why. I didn't know Jesus was in the Ben-Hur movie. And Jesus is hanging there on the cross, and what does he say? Forgive them, Father, for they know not what they do. And then he says, it is finished, and he gave up his spirit. Okay? And then the soldiers pierced his side to make sure he was dead, and he was. That was a message to me, that there was something that was done in the spiritual realm when I had said, forgive them, Father, for they know not what they do. Okay. Something happened there. See, I stepped back and didn't get all involved in the hatred and the anger, and I'm going to get you back, and I'm going to file a police report, and now we're going to dance with the sheriff deputies. Let's just do this 2-step, okay? Now we're going to dance and file another police report and all this BS to get me snared, the snare of the fowler. But it didn't happen. And that was the kicker right there. That was the kicker. See, because I need my little energy for my destiny. That's not my destiny, fighting these people, these demons that are in these people, okay? That's not my destiny, okay? I need my energy for my destiny. And so I pissed Satan off, and he broke my nose. But you can't tell. I mean, the first day, every time I looked in the mirror, it looked crooked. I thought, so I can't do that. And what I've decided to do was, take it to the cross, where we're supposed to take all of our broken toys, the relationships that didn't work out, the things that people have stolen from us, and blah, blah, blah. We take all those things and we put them at the foot of the cross. Now, most people, they do that, but then before they leave, after they pray to the Lord, when they leave, they take all that stuff and they take it back with them, and you're not supposed to. If you're going to leave something for God to take care of, okay, then you got to leave it. So I took my broken nose and I left it at the foot of the cross for Jesus to take care of for me. Every once in a while I walk around here with a patch on my eye because 7 years ago I had an accident outside where I wasn't wearing goggles, and this dirty pine tree, it got in my eye and I ran all over, and the cops contacted every eye doctor that I was on my way to because of the tracking device on the vehicle. And one guy, he was a specialist, he charged my mom and I $300 just to walk in, and he never did a thing. He looked in my eye, he didn't wash it out. Because I never got the proper care, it still bothers me. So, where am I going to go for my nose? All right? Where am I going to go for my chipped tooth? Okay? They don't let me have self-care. I went to the chiropractor, I don't know, maybe 6 weeks ago. I ran in there to see if they had a special pillow that I need. They did not have it. But the cops called the guy, the chiropractor, while I was there. This is what they do. This is what they do. It's illegal, it's unjust, and I think, let's not talk about what I think about that, okay? Let's leave that for another topic. Let's just stay on this. So, we can't please the Father without faith, and I have crazy faith. I have radical faith. I speak things that be not as though they were. You know, the whole thing. And I know I'm listened to. Okay? That's why they had someone 1,200 miles away that's by my mom call me on Friday night, because they wanted to know what it was that I was hollering and screaming about. Help me, Jesus, crying in my house for the 50 seconds that I did. And the blood stopped. I'm in no pain. I'm not bruised, but I'm broken. See? And one of the prayers in the scriptures is that, we take our broken toys to the Lord, we leave him at the foot of the cross. By his stripes we are healed. Nothing broken, nothing missing. So this could have been a whole lot worse. And when the dog, jumped up on the couch, and I guess I was wiping the other one or something, and it, bam! Because my mom said, are you sure it was your nose that cracked? Oh, gee, that would have been nice, hey? If maybe my C1 would have been put back into place. It wasn't my neck. I said, Mom, my ears, my nose is right in the middle of my two ears. It was my nose that cracked. Never heard anything like that. Never saw anything like that in my life. It was 3 seconds, and it was violent. It was dramatic. It didn't need to happen. But it did. So, I don't know. Just wanted to share all that with you guys. It was an awful thing. And so, that's where I'm at right now. Direct hits from Satan. I get them. I get them. And the ones where anybody could have their 2 cents involved, like a rattlesnake appearing in my yard, could the wildlife and game warden, could they have planted that while I was in the house and the 2 dogs were down there, and then gave us something to eat so that the rattlesnake could be more docile and all that? Absolutely. Absolutely. Does it matter? No, there's a rattlesnake in my yard. Okay. That happened about, I don't know when it was, 3 or 4 months ago, after I spoke with the sheriff. Now, I've been here for 11 years. I think I've spoken with the sheriff 4 times. So I just want you to know that but it's important at times that, I've called him. And the other rattlesnake was in my yard. Then something awful happened 2 weeks ago with the loss of an animal that was here. That was awful. I mean, not even normal, just awful. And so uncalled for. And now this with a broken nose. So, anyways, yeah, they go after your mind. If Satan can't get your mind, he goes after your faith. He goes after your faith. So, anyways, just another day in paradise. Just wanted to share that with you. It's a direct hit from Satan. nothing that anybody did. There was no gang stalking that made that happen. None of that, you know. I know that. I've been involved in this for too long to not know that. I know that. And I also know that Satan does his own direct attacks. And like I said, he's mad because I didn't get caught in the snare of the fowler, which is where they wanted me to be. Because you see, you know, with all the hollering and everything that I have put up with for 11 years, that's all to antagonize me, okay? And so that was it. I'm led by the Holy Spirit, basically.